TV. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm your host, Madam Ro, in full effect. So I would just like to share with you guys how I created this beautiful textured creation in the background of this layout. And it's a fun way, a budget-friendly way to create texture and colorful patterns and stuff on any project that you're creating. I know you guys can purchase some of the stuff that's already made, like Tim Holtz has some tissue paper, you know, design tissue paper, a lot of different brands. But I mean, if you are on a budget like me, what's a better way than doing it for free? So I am going to share with you guys a start to finish video on how I created this textured tissue paper. Now I don't show how I create the whole thing, it's just only how I created this abstract colorful tissue paper in the background. All you need is some white tissue paper, some paints, markers, stencils, and there you go. And I know most of you mixed media people already have that in your stash. This is a great way to create something for you new mixed media beginners, to create some nice textures to any project. So I decided that I wanted to join the Shimmers February Challenge and create something that was very dimensional. For those of you who don't know, I love dimension and I love color. So what better way to marry the two together and create it inside of this beautiful layout. We had to use any pinks or reds inside of the Shimmers lines, and I decided to use some textures and dazzlers in the pink colors for the heart, and also on the tissue paper in the background. And I absolutely love the way that this turned out. I wanted it to be like a layout, so I decided I wanted to do something different. I didn't want to do the traditional way that people do layouts. So I was like, okay, I want it to be dimensional. You know, it's Valentine's month, the month of love, so I decided that I wanted to use a paper mache heart, and I wanted to use that kind of like a frame. So I cut a hole out, and I'm going to put a picture of me and my son in it. And I think that adding the finishing touches to any gorgeous piece or layout or whatever you create is to frame it. So I took this to Hobby Lobby and got it framed, and I do that to a lot of my pieces, even my art journal pages. I like to frame. If it's something that I think is good enough to hang on the wall, then I take it out of my art journal and I frame it. So this is what I came up with, and I absolutely love all the texture and dimension that I created on this. Let's go ahead and get started with the demo video. So of course you're going to need some tissue paper. I like to put cardboard underneath my tissue paper just so that whatever I'm using doesn't soak through. The materials that you will need are just some markers, acrylic paint, sprays, something for texture. And right now I'm just applying some gesso onto the surface. Perfection for this case is not the key because it's going to be abstract, just going to be a clash of colors. So I'm just liberally applying gesso all over the page. And just a word of caution, do not oversaturate too much because you can tear a hole inside of the tissue paper because it's very thin. So be sure to just apply like a light even layer and not oversaturate too much. So I'm going to begin with just adding some sprays. Right now this is my homemade mist that I created using guac and water. It just adds a light tint of color. Just to add some sparkle, I'm going to use my shimmer spray, 4-leaf clover. I like how the mica sinked into some of the creases, giving it some nice effects. Now I'm using a homemade mist using Americana paints, which is the electric pink and water. That's how I got that color. And now I'm applying some yellow acrylic paint by Americana, and it's the bright yellow. I couldn't find my credit card, so I just got a little piece of cardboard to smear the yellow color around the tissue paper. And now I'm using Neon Purple by Folk Art and some bubble wrap, and just applying an even coat of color to the bubble wrap to make sure certain areas are not oversaturated, because then it'll show up wherever you stamp. So I'm just stamping all over, and this is another good way to save on money by just using found objects to use as stamps. So I'm lightly going to spray some Hibiscus Rose by Lindy's Stamp Gang and add some Phthalo Blue, which is a bright blue color that I got from, it's an acrylic paint that I got from Hobby Lobby. I think it's called Masters Fine Touch or something like that. It's in the professional paint aisle at Hobby Lobby. And so I'm just adding some little crescent half circles on the page. Another homemade mist. It's just black guac and water. And as I mentioned before, I will show a tutorial on how I create those. I wanted just to add some contrast to the mix. So now I'm just spraying and making sure I get some drips. Alright, so now that I've added a lot of just the sprays and colors, I decided I wanted to use some stencils. So now I'm using Fluorescent Pink by Master's Touch, which is another Hobby Lobby brand acrylic paint. And I'm just using a foam brush to stipple the stencil. And there's no rhyme or reason to what I'm doing. I'm just kind of putting it wherever I feel. Just going with the flow. That's the beauty of abstract. You can just do what you want. There's no messing up. So now I'm wanting to use a different stencil, and I'm using my Phthalo Blue acrylic paint to add some circles to the mix. I messed up over there, so now I'm just kind of smearing it out to blend it in a little. So now I'm going in with my Shimmers Dazzlers, which is in the color Lemon Drop, to add some pops of yellow. I love the Dazzlers because it gives like a pearlescent feel to it, and it just gives it a little bit of sheen. And as I'm applying, I'm keeping in mind that this is tissue paper, so you can't do things so rough because it will tear. And be sure to dry in between each layer that you put on, so that way it's not oversaturated whenever you're, adding the different layers on there. So now I'm going in with the Shimmers Textures, which is in coral, crushed coral, just to add a little bit of texture and dimension to it, so it's not all flat. And those stencils that you see right now, I just purchased from Walmart in their craft section. So now I'm using the Neon Purple, and I'm using some corrugated cardstock just to make some more stamping. Another found object that you can use to stamp with. That gives it a nice effect. So now I'm taking Americana's coral pink, and I'm just splattering it around the area using a stipple brush that you can also get from Hobby Lobby in the stencil section, because it's used for stenciling. And now I'm taking my whiteout. It's just a regular squeeze whiteout that I use to doodle on a lot of my projects. So I just, as you can see, created some doodles with it. Now I wanted to add some more vibrancy and adding some of the fluorescent pink. Going in with my homemade spray using the Americana electric pink and some more black. I'm getting some more drips going on. I realized that my little crescents got covered up, so now I'm just going back in and re-outlining them so they can stand out more. So now I'm using my Prima Engraver stamp and just going around sporadically throughout the tissue paper. I love adding some form of text or something whenever I'm doing mixed media, and that's one of my favorite stamps to use. So now I'm using the Pucker Up Pink Dazzlers to add some more pearlescent sheen. I'm using a stencil by Crafter's Workshop, the Mini Antiquities, I believe that's what it's called. Add some more script to it. And I'm just putting it in the darker areas so it can stand out. As I said, perfection is not the key, so if it's a little smudged, it's no biggie, because it's just going to end up getting crumpled up on the background anyway, so perfection for me in this case is not the key. So now I'm going in with some white Americana paint, just adding some more splats of white just to give it a little balance. Now I'm using the Lindy's Lump of Coal color shot, and I'm just splattering some black in there. Going in just with some more Americana yellow to bring out the yellow some more. So now all I'm doing is just bringing out some of the colors that kind of got muted as I was adding in all those layers. So just bringing those colors back out. So this is basically the gist of how this turned out. Be sure to check out the still photos coming up so you can see the whole project together. Thanks for watching.
Taking it back. We bring it back on this side. Come on, Blanca.
I see you when I'm staring in my coffee cup, or when I'm downtown as I wait for the bus. I see you. Oh, how I see you.
Let them know.
Oh, the lonely nights when I stare at the stars and how the trees blow as I walk through the park.
you in my mind, and every time I wake up, reminds me of the time when I was trying to find love, and I would try so hard to show you how good I was, but all I...
So I certainly hope that you guys were inspired by this little demo video, and stay tuned because I will be sharing more with you some budget-friendly mixed media tips and techniques. So stay tuned for that. And I would love to see some of the tissue papers that you guys create. So if you guys would like to share it with me, feel free to head on over to my Facebook page, add it to my wall or my Google Plus page, or do a video response, whatever you feel like doing. I would certainly love to see what you guys create. Thank you guys for watching. If you're not a subscriber and you like what you see, please do subscribe. Follow me to see to stay up to date on future videos from Madam Ro TV. Also, I will also be sharing some still photos on my blog, so head over to my blog and see some still photos. Get social with me, follow me on my Google Plus, Pinterest, Facebook, whatever it is that you feel like doing, do that. Okay, so thank you for watching, and always remember to find your own self, feature. Thanks for watching. Bye. Mwah.
You're genuine like leather. You made this man walk on a different level. My past is set, I'm attached like Pinocchio and Geppetto.